Hi guys, it's Keith H again. Now I'm going to be doing a review today in the field of the ARES M60-E4, commonly known as the Mark 43. Now there was a teaser video filmed at home of this weapon a couple of weeks or so ago, so I'm going to have a look at it in the field and give you my honest opinions of this weapon. It's not a marketing video. I've not been told to do this to sell the weapon to you guys. It's an honest in the field review, pros and cons of the weapon. And if at the end of the video you like the weapon, then you can go ahead and buy one. If you don't, then if this video in some ways helped you make that decision, then that's the whole purpose of this. The weapon itself, made by ARES, was supplied by Airsoft World in Scotland and also the guys at Recon-Rag. The two teams work together. The guys at Recon-Rag and Airsoft World, essentially the same members of staff. Now the weapon itself, the Mark 43, you can see this one has the orange tip, which we don't really require in the United Kingdom, so this was obviously made for the US market. But it does have a black tip contained in the box itself, but as this is being glued on at the end and I don't own the weapon, then the last thing I was going to do was rip off the orange tip and potentially damage the weapon, especially not since I don't own the weapon that I'm holding at the moment. So this is the descendant of the M60 family of general purpose machine guns that were developed in the 1950s by the US. They were looking for a lighter portable machine gun that they could give to infantry and marine units that would give them a good rate of fire from a belt-fed disintegrating source of ammunition. Since the days of the Vietnam War, when the US grunts called the original M60 the Pig, it's gone through a series of modifications, and this is the latest in that family of M60s. And if you've been watching the Vietnam War films, or if you've got diagrams in a book for example, you'll notice that this is a little bit different to the original M60. It has a box magazine, which you can see on the left hand side of the weapon, and it also has a front pistol grip, which means that ergonomically it's much easier to carry in the field. It balances out the overall weight. Now, this being an airsoft gun, it's not the same weight as the original weapon. This ARES airsoft gun actually weighs in at roughly about 4.5 kilograms, so it doesn't weigh a lot. But if you're going to carry this all day, you would definitely want to buy a sling for it. It's going to take a lot of the pressure off your arms. So we have a sling mount at the front here on the left hand side, and a sling mount at the rear of the weapon underneath the butt plate. We also have a wire support that comes out that helps rest the weapon in your shoulder when you're in the prone position. Now, overall impressions of this, to be honest, I've never been a fan of support guns in airsoft, especially having seen the way that some guys actually use their support weapons, almost like a gardener with a hose watering his plants. So if I'm being honest, I didn't think I was going to like this gun, but that opinion did change after having a couple of skirmishes with this. Now the weight of the weapon, it's not too bad. As I said, 4.5 kilograms, so it's a mix of metal alloys and also some good quality plastics in there. It's not really cheap, brittle plastic that's going to fall apart, but most of it is metal. And plastic is in the areas that you would really want plastic, where you're going to be holding it. On a winter's day, if the metal was to be cold, then it's going to be quite uncomfortable to carry all day long. So you've got plastic in the areas that your hands are going to be in contact with the weapon itself. Now to put the battery in this, simply a catch at the rear which lifts up and exposes the battery compartment. We have a small Tamiya connector and really a very large battery compartment there, which in the user's manual states that you can go for a 3300 mAh 9.6 volt battery, which is pretty good capacity. So that's how the battery connects up, simply fits in there. There's also a lead that runs into the box mag, so the box mag itself is electrical fed. You don't have the annoyance of winding it forward all the time, and the box mag being about 4,000 rounds, you certainly don't want to be manually winding it forward all the time. When we lift up the top cover, it also exposes where in the real weapon the ammunition would be situated, and we have some plastic rounds there on a mock disintegrating belt. So that's there just for basically aesthetics, just to make it look good. Now, as I've got the top cover up and I'm talking about ammunition, I'm going to talk about the one thing about this weapon that I really don't like, and that's the method that they're using to attach the box mag to the actual body of the gun itself. So I'll bring it in a little bit closer. Now then, what you'll see here is a catch, and all it takes is pushing it forward, and that's it. The box mag's falling off. So when you're reaching for the trigger or using your safety and fire switch, it's very easy to knock that and the box magazine's going to fall off. So it's a good electric fed I should say, box magazine. However, it is a very weak link in the weapon itself. So that's the one aspect of this weapon that I really don't like. During gameplay, the magazine fell off probably about 3 times in total over the course of one game, which was very annoying if you're trying to put fire down on the enemy, and even more annoying if you're trying to be stealthy and get up behind the enemy and then you accidentally bump the catch and your magazine falls off on the deck and all the BBs fall out everywhere. So really a weak point of the weapon. I mentioned the safety catch. There's only really 2 positions, safe and fire, and it is ambidextrous. You can access that from both sides of the weapon, so that's good. The handle on top is purely for removing the barrel, quite easy to use, and we've got iron sights, which are all that you require for a support gun. If you want to put telescopic sights on this, then really you're more akin to wanting to get yourself a sniper rifle, trying to pick off individual targets at distance. This is really meant for laying down a volume of fire that's going to dominate a firefight rather than trying to get individual targets a long way off. Now the bipod at the front, very easy to operate. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4 different lengths on it, so it's easy just to extend out, and if you want it up under the body, you just pull the leg down, and this one is quite stiff. So again, this being an honest review, I'm not going to cut this. You can see how difficult this is. There we go. So it takes a bit of force, which means that it's going to be secure, but it also means if you're trying to move quickly and you're just trying to put that down stealthily and quite quietly, you could end up being caught out there, making a bit of noise that you don't want to do. So, overall impressions of the gun. If you like support guns, then I would recommend that you go ahead and buy this. It's not something that personally I would buy. I'm not a fan of support guns. It's not the style of play that I want to adopt whilst playing Airsoft, but overall it is a good gun. The A&K version, which one of my friends has, the catch for the box mag doesn't knock easily like the one on the ARES version. It's a much securer fit. So I think this problem with the box mag is really just a problem with the ARES weapon rather than a problem that's inherent with all the M60 range of airsoft guns out there. If there's anything you want to know further about this weapon, then ARES do have downloadable user manuals for it. It's just a case of going on the ARES website and you can look up whichever gun you want and download a manual. And if you want to purchase any of the weapons or inquire about any of the weapons that are supplied by Airsoft World, then the link will be underneath the screen. And what I'm going to do just to end the video is just show you how this gun performs on the firing range. It has chronoed in roughly between 312 and 345 feet per second maximum, but what we'll do now is we'll go over to the range and we'll have a look and see what kind of distance we're getting on it. Okay, so here we are on the firing range. We're going to look at the distance we're going to get with the M60. It's chronoing at an average of 340 feet per second with 0.25 gram BBs. Now then, the weapon is here at the beginning of the range, and actually looking downrange, just zoom in a little bit closer for you, we've got markers in increments of 10 meters. So the first one we're looking at there, the highest one at red, that's 20 meters, then 30, 40 and 50. Now, without trying to take aim like a sniper, we'll see which of those targets we can hit from here. So there is a bit of a wind today, blowing in quite strongly from the left hand side. Very effectively hit the 20, 30 and 40 metre targets. The hop up on the M60 could be doing with being adjusted a little bit. It is actually fallen a little bit short. It was really when we went for the 50 metre target that it started to really drop down. So an adjustment on the hop, and I would say that that would effectively get to 50 metres, but that's looking like the extent of its effective range. Any further? Right, so there you go guys, that was the review of the ARES M60-E4, also known as the MK43. As I said earlier on, it is a good bit of kit, not one that I would want to own personally, but that's not because I don't like the gun, it's just not my preferred style of airsoft. I like my assault rifles, in particular my L85, as a lot of you'll know already. But if you want to know any more about the weapon guys, then feel free to post comments below, ask questions, and you can also contact the guys at Airsoft World as I mentioned earlier, and look for the published review in the next issue of Recon-Rag. So thanks again for watching guys.